think that's quorum, yeah.
Okay, well, I'd like to call this meeting of the Master Plan Implementation Committee, Thursday, May 30th, 2013. Call to order. First order of business is the adoption of the agenda.
Motion, can it be approved?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Second item, approval of the minutes. Minutes from May 2nd.
You know where we found it.
I looked them over and I motioned to
We are an
approve.
independent committee.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
They want their top priority.
Two things down. Public comments.
No public
Okay.
speaking, comment.
Old business, regular items, continuing discussion, and progress report. Okay, anything from the Transportation Committee?
Those are two of them. Because I know.
Did we officially table the convening of the meeting until, we did, right, until after that?
Until
Until the,
Report is issued?
yeah, the report.
Okay,
I
great.
saw people walking around town with Jessica. So was that maybe them getting a, I think it's in progress with that. So we said, I think it was a July
I think
1.
it was like
check in July 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, check in in July. Okay,
Yeah, second been here for a couple of weeks.
so checking in on that in July?
Sounds good. How about the Energy Commission? Any update on that?
I don't have any updates.
Maybe we need to check with Jessica to see if anybody submitted an application.
Yeah,
Yeah, last I heard there was,
who's ours picking?
yeah, one or two people. Okay. So, new business, cover-to-cover chapter review project, and our next chapter is
History.
history. Neat. Okay.
You were on this committee as well?
Which one?
The historic.
I'm on the Historic Commission.
Oh, right, yeah, okay, I see that.
I wasn't on, you know,
But
wasn't
John
on
was
this.
a part of, or
Yes.
he wrote this, so
Yes, where is
hopefully,
John?
he's supposed to be coming, so hopefully he's just running a few minutes late.
Okay. This must be history right here, isn't it? Yeah. Should we shut that door, maybe?
I think that might be helpful.
Okay, so are we starting right at the beginning of this?
We are, yeah, and I guess, because I recognize now that every single, the goals and strategies that are more like fully written out do not line up, and that's because, again, as John always reminds us, the prioritization session was not meant to be like a literal
And not everything that is
in there.
here is here.
Okay.
I think there's more
In here.
in the book, yes.
I mean, I kind of like going through it by this. I feel like it's helpful to look at it like this.
Should we veer from what we've been doing?
Maybe not, maybe not, maybe not.
Just as a matter of protocol, since we're like just doing the once over,
Yeah.
and then once we,
Good call.
I'm only saying, then once we dive into each chapter, I would definitely recommend like going back to this because that's where the detail is.
Yeah. Right. Great.
Unless we have questions.
Yeah, and then referencing it, which maybe.
All right, so that's strategy number 1. Create an oral history records program that allows us to capture oral histories before they disappear.
I like that.
So where are we on that?
I am not aware of anything existing.
I think John may have a better handle on that.
Yeah.
If he's done anything, he'd probably be the guy.
So maybe ask John, come back to that when John comes.
Yeah. Check with John.
I think the next one we might be able to answer.
Think so?
I think so.
Good job. Promote the Historic Commission as a primary contact for the municipal historical issues. Well,
Is that in place or not really?
not really. I mean, I don't think it would be very difficult to do. Not sure exactly who would be pointing.
I think
where.
planning board, when we had questions over on Parson Street, they were like, historic commission,
Right.
go to them. So I think like if it's in terms of development, then planning board and zoning board would be people who would be promoting.
Right.
I guess my only question is, what are municipal historical issues? Just any issues that come up related to
Older
housing.
properties that are either going to be demolished or renovated or anything along those lines, I would imagine.
Right.
At one time, this was probably 10 years ago, there was talk of taking the parsonage down at the Congregational Church, and it had to go through the Historical Commission before they could get approval to do it. And if any of the historic buildings want to make changes to the buildings,
Yeah, it has to go.
it has to go through.
The commission.
And it's one of those things, the Historic Commission can't stop you from
Right.
doing it, but they can put a 6-month delay on it.
Yeah, demolition or anything like that.
Demolition.
I mean, actually, some of them are pretty much automatic anyways. If it's over a certain, if it's either significant or if it's been inventoried, then it's automatic. You have to wait, which is fine. I think part of the problem or the issue maybe, so you say promote the Historic Commission as the primary contact for municipal historical issues. We have to make planning, zoning, and everybody else aware that what the or send the Historical Commission agendas on what they're going to be doing, and if there's any even small question.
Yeah.
So, kind of work it both ways.
Yeah.
So where the Historical Commission can look at it and say, oh, wait a minute, they're doing this. I think we might have an interest in that.
Yeah, for sure.
So not just promoting it, but just making them aware of what is going on.
Mostly with the planning and zoning department.
Yeah, I think so.
So it sounds more like a communication, a better communication
I mean,
loop.
that's kind of what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah. Because the promotion is kind of like ongoing, but it's really making sure that people are talking to each other about
Right.
existing.
Well, I think
Projects.
the other thing is that people get confused between the Historical Society and the Historical Commission.
Yeah.
Commission's dealing more with property issues and
Okay.
districts and, that kind of thing. As where the Historical Society may have collections and, be artifacts and, so,
But if the Historical Commission are considered the initial go-to people, and they may end up saying, you need to be talking to the Historical
Right.
Society,
Right.
but if it's just something that you automatically, if you've got a historical question, you start with the Historical Commission.
I guess, yeah, right, I guess, that's be part of it, I also think, like I said, sometimes just getting the agendas to, whoever's going to be chairman, so they can actually look at it and go, oh, geez, we maybe, well, like when Kevin was doing the Button building. So we kind of went down to, listen to what he was having to say, and, because private property, they can pretty much do what they want up to a point.
Right.
And unless they start pulling like state permits or getting grant money, then all of a sudden, well, we can step in and say, oh, no, you got to do it this way, or prefer you to do it this way.
Well, and there's some there's grants for historic work too, so actually, in a sense, like promoting that idea could also help those people who want to take private property and renovate it in a way they'll have more opportunity, more funding. So, one is another reason to just push that through. Push it. So would you say it's some progress then? Or like, but
little progress, but yeah, I think there's, it's like somebody said, a communication issue where it really needs to be communicated. Because a lot of people don't, like, between the building inspector and the
Yeah, I've seen
planning and
building
zoning,
inspector
all those people need to kind of step up, I guess, a little bit.
Should we say like some progress but streamlined communication, or what's the word to plug in there that we could
I don't think we have one related to community.
clarify?
I think a lot of the
I
things.
think clarify on this number one, because I think there needs some clarification as to, what kind of issues and who's promoting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this historical commission isn't really going to promote themselves,
Right.
or.
Or maybe they should.
You know what I picture? It's like every board should just have, like everybody at some point, maybe when we go through this, we'll have an idea of what everybody does.
Yeah.
And just make a cheat sheet that if you're a board member, when you become a member of a board, you get a cheat sheet that says, if this comes up, you go to this board. If this comes up, you go to that person. Like, I could picture
Yeah, that would be-
like one thing, it's the go-to.
Something
Well, kind of a map of city government.
Yeah.
How to-
Hey, there you go.
How to navigate the
How to
city government.
navigate, yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like that would be like, check, that would solve a lot of, even what we've been doing, like, well, who do we go to?
Yeah.
Vetting a vet map.
Yeah.
Maybe that's going to be our first
Well,
project.
the way this is moving along, it'd probably be more like a ancestry chart.
This came out of
A
this.
couple of
and-
generations ago. All right. Create historic landscape districts, Park Hill, Echo Dale, and historic districts. That's interesting. I think there's some progress. I mean, we actually applied for a grant to do a historic district on the old Mills Pleasant Street area, and we didn't get the money, so it kind of died. But
Do you think the Arts District counts towards this, or is that separate? I mean, it's
I don't think it's
not.
separate.
Is that maybe something, because
But similar.
what is a historic landscape district? I feel like, is that like a particular development
question.
term or something?
Well, I'm sure.
I don't think it's there. Glossary of
Okay.
terms. It's not in the glossary of terms.
And it doesn't give, it says regulatory and non-regulatory, who's responsible, historic commission and planning department, resources needing Community Preservation Act funding, target date for completion 2010. So, but it doesn't say, it doesn't give any other specifics.
There's, in like the challenges and opportunities, they talk about the historic inventory and survey that was done. So it's like just kind of identifying which areas of town people want to see preserved.
I think, historic landscape districts,
Rather than just a historic district.
well,
that's, I
historic
guess-
districts would be obviously the historic commission.
Okay.
So that's, that would be there, maybe. Landscape districts, possibly the same, but I would probably have to talk to Jessica as far as, figuring out exactly what that would be.
Is it a concept you've heard of?
I'm not really familiar with it, so.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a vet with Jessica as to definition?
You could ask her.
Well, see, I don't know so much about this being historic, but like last night at the meeting about all the protected lands in town, they were talking about, what do we need to do with those lands? Like people were talking about connectivity, trying to, there are a lot of people in town who don't realize that there's a community garden up on Park Hill, and there are people who don't even know where Park Hill is. So, and since the bus doesn't run up there at all, and there are no bike paths or anything that go anywhere near it, and connecting, like the bike path being out by Arcadia and connecting into the schools and so forth. You know, there was I think a lot of the work on the landscape is not so much being done from a historic standpoint as it is from a conservation
Right.
standpoint. So it's almost like this belongs elsewhere.
It's possible. Well, you know, I mean, I'm sure some of it, what you're referring to, probably does. But I'm not exactly sure what they mean by historic landscape districts. You know, if
Well,
that's
I
something
think it may be that,
like old farms. Or,
yeah, I think it may be that, you know, Park Hill was farms for years and years, so it's historic in that sense. The places that have always been farms, let's see how many of them we can keep. So it's historic in that sense, but
They've also, a lot of that land's been protected as agricultural land anyhow.
Yeah,
It's kind of
so-
like,
Yeah.
you designate the same land with
exactly,
7 designations, so
Yeah.
it's meaningless.
exactly. So
Yeah.
Well, I think it's definitely a question, a clarifying question for, I think, Jessica first, and then maybe the conservation folks.
Yeah, let's figure out exactly what they mean by historic landscape district. You know, if it's something that the historical commission can actually look at or, you know, or move along, then we'll give it to them. If it's not, then we'll give it back to Jessica. Somebody will take it. Anything else? Any other thoughts?
Nope.
All right. Number 4, generate funding for historic webpage as part of the city site. Now,
Is that done?
John's been talking.
There is a link from the city webpage
to that page.
to the historical.
Okay.
It has documents and pictures. And
Maybe partial.
In progress?
Yeah.
Progress, okay. I'm just kind of wondering, generate funding. You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like,
Is that free?
It's something that, you know, okay, the webpage is out there, but he's talking about money here, so.
yeah, I wonder what would need money, or what would, you know.
Should we do like some progress, site exists, but what about funding?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're right, though. What about funding?
For someone to maintain it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, I
Or,
mean,
you know, expand it even.
okay.
Who's
Who's working on
going to get
that?
that money? Yeah, exactly. Who's working on it? Or, like I said, it's too bad John's not here because he might have some insight into that.
Yeah.
So there's another one. for-
Yeah, maybe that's
for
another, we can
John.
star the ones that we can ask John for more information on.
Okay. We'll do that. And we know that some of it exists, so it's in progress in a sense.
Yeah. And I know the next one he's working on too, actually.
Yeah, I've heard him talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's something, he's working at it?
Well, I think work with schools, work with schools to create classroom history projects. I think that was even one of the things that when we first had our first meeting and prioritized our own personal, like, number one thing to do. I think that was
Right,
his.
yeah. I think you're right.
So I think he's had conversations with some teachers and
I think things have been going, I think
Moving
it's
forward.
in progress in the
Yeah.
schools.
yeah,
John all over this chapter.
yep.
We don't know if there's been any contact with any teachers. This is something.
There's definitely contact,
Yeah.
yeah, because I was talking to him and we were talking about hooking school, teachers up with the Historic Society, and I just told him, you just call and they'll take field trips over there.
So it's in progress.
So it's definitely in progress.
We just need to throw the carrot in front of them or the stick behind them. Number 6, digitize all available historic archives and add to website.
Wow.
Hey, John.
Well, that seems like something funding would be needed for.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like a web page, I mean, aside from a one-time person to do it, I don't know. I'm curious as to why there isn't funding connected to that one. Because I feel like that would take a lot of time
Yes.
and staffing resources, which might not be at the Historical Society.
There's definitely not there.
Right, so I mean, like,
And that is definitely part of their more than any
Yeah.
other department.
It's just completely, it's a complete volunteer organization.
yeah.
I mean, they'll do research, but it's all analog based.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this is
I wonder-
maybe no progress, I don't know.
I mean,
Is there?
No, on the link on the
There's some-
website, there's stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
so there is some
there's-
stuff.
I mean,
yeah,
Some
some
progress,
It's a lot of maps, photos.
so
I wonder
probably.
if like the library would help. No? Yeah, I feel like it benefits.
Yeah. It's a
Great student project.
And she's relatively,
Yeah.
and Kristen's relatively
That,
new.
that could really tie in, you know, like it's a
Yeah.
great history project, local history,
Yeah.
and technology project for students.
Yeah.
Like that would
Even
be,
a college
yeah,
project.
Sounds like
Yeah.
an intern, yeah.
Yeah, intern.
history intern.
History intern, for sure. I think that we should do, definitely.
Number 6.
So like some progress needs more support.
I think it needs some staffing
Yeah.
resources. Or
Progress needs support.
Or some free labor in the form of.
Needs support and free labor. Yeah.
Needs support, okay. Very good. Number 7, create a mill museum in one of the mills and a general history museum somewhere, possibly the Historic Society building.
Well, that is really literally what the Historical Society building
It
is.
is, yes.
So
So,
this is like done.
part one of that is complete.
And isn't he doing some, actually, the Button building?
Yes, I think
He's gonna do some mill museum stuff in there, and that's in collaboration with the Historical Society. I know he contacted them,
Okay,
so it's some kind of mini
okay, so
museum.
that's in progress. I believe we were talking to the 15 Cottage Street also, you know,
Oh, awesome.
looking at like, you know, there's a separate building. Their old building was like a machine shop or something like that, that they were indicating that might be, you know, good for something like that, which, you know, would be really cool. But, you know, I'm saying even lobby space, if, you know, like, I mean, I don't know if you've been to Valley Medical, they
Yeah,
replicated the old postcards and put them up, which I think is kind of cool.
it's really cool.
Because you get a little, you know, a little bit of history just, you know, sitting there waiting for your doctor's appointment.
That's really cool.
Okay, so we're in progress. Probably needs a little more, we need a little more information on where it is at this point, I think.
Yeah.
We know what's going on. Okay. Number 8, promote and encourage celebrations of town districts such as New City or National Onyx Square. It's interesting.
I don't know that that's necessarily happening, but we do party over in New City as a neighborhood, so.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Some
say,
progress.
what is New City?
It's, no, it's Parsons Street, Ferry Street, it's the whole original mill district.
Okay,
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
the housing.
Some of Everett.
Yeah, Parsons to Ferry, Everett to Ferry Street,
Yeah.
kind of over all those mill housing. Most of those were built by the mills.
So the
I mean, there actually used to be stores
New
on
City
Parsons Street.
was from housing developed
For the mills,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I mean, as a neighborhood, we're trying to do that over there. I don't know, Nashawanic Square. there's stuff centered, is that like, that's just around the pond? There's a lot going on
National
there.
Square, I believe, is like the area in front of the Brass Cat, right?
Yeah, in front, Brass Cat of Cottage Street, so there's enough.
So I mean, yeah, if
There's
you're doing,
enough.
the cultural district kind of, you know,
Yeah,
I think
that was, definitely a celebration for that.
I think if that boardwalk happens, it'll be really easy to,
Oh,
really,
absolutely.
that's sort of one of the keys of getting the
If,
music back on the map.
And
I
I
guess
think,
is who would, well, is there I'm sorry,
no,
is there like, somebody that coordinates that area? I think like,
We have a neighborhood association. What
Okay.
we really need to do, and we were like, so how do we make a neighborhood association? And they're like, you basically just start meeting and calling yourselves a neighborhood. So that's what we've done.
Yeah.
I think there's no like overarching, if we're trying to figure something out, I email Jessica.
Right.
And so it's just a group of citizens. And
Well, so she's going to
Marge Pendergast tried to do it previously, yeah, and Jessica's in New City.
Right.
So, previously there was like another, somewhat, it fizzled out attempt in New City. But I think we need, what would be good is some kind of public information about how to form a neighborhood association in any of, you know what I mean? Like
Right, yeah.
National, New City, even a downtown, I don't know, any one of these, Plains area, to get people together. What we need is some kind of a core, here are the guidelines, here's how you just form a group.
I guess my other question was the Cottage Street Station, was it Cottage Station or something like that?
Cottage Street Station.
Because there are some people that plant flowers and that kind of stuff.
Marley is doing that with Karina.
Okay. I mean, maybe that's something that, approach them and the other business owners on Cottage Street would be looking to do something.
Yeah.
And
But this-
maybe they would.
I just wanted to inject that this is for the purpose of promoting history of these neighborhoods, right?
Not necessarily, because it says
I guess
celebrations of the town districts, so
Right.
it's not,
I think it'll
But
definitely
it's under
promote
historical, so
awareness.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, as soon as you said, like, well, what's New City? Well, then now you know, just, that's where,
Yeah, I'm
the
still
population's
I know.
centered. But I think that's the
Yeah.
purpose of promoting celebrations like this. You're promoting a history because you're wondering where all these names came, like, there's Skunk Hollow, which is like the other end of Everett, right? There are these names that come from like
Yeah.
Random.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
Stickball.
How the planes
Stickball
became,
teams.
how the planes became the planes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So I think we need leadership or need
Yeah.
something there.
Well, it's
I
possibly
think we
like I
did
said,
make that a category, need leadership.
leadership.
Did we?
Yeah.
Do we have a cheat sheet?
Didn't we?
Well, like I said, if
I don't
there's-
remember writing the literature. Mostly it's just
I
ongoing
remember
nothing
saying,
progress.
I remember saying that needs to be a category.
You made it.
Well, like I said, I mean,
Well, I mean, who would own it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is,
The cottage-
there's
Right.
no committee that,
well, the
Well,
Cottage
not everything
Station,
needs to be
business
community
people that are actually actively doing something or
Yeah.
semi-actively doing something might want to own that part of town,
Yeah.
and might want to come up with something. I mean, they did they do the ice harvesting thing?
Yeah, and they're doing it next year as
Yeah,
well.
next year. So that's something that's kind of like,
Celebration.
National Square area.
Yeah.
It's a little bit under the Arts Council too, right?
Yes.
Because they're the ones.
Yes.
So,
So,
I guess this one cuts across multiple.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, obviously, unless you did a Revolutionary War enactment or something, you can't be
That's
there.
part of it.
Then you got history, but,
All right.
But yeah, I
so-
mean, especially something like in New City where you might do bring somebody in and talk about the mills and the
Yeah.
immigration and whatnot. Not just, but where would you hold it?
Parsons Street
For a
School.
school. It's a school capable of doing that at this point?
It's empty.
So it's empty, I know it's, well, it's not semi-empty, is it?
Semi, yeah,
They use it just to keep it, people in
I
there.
think
just-
there's daycare, community daycare, I heard partially in there, but I live across the street, I don't see anybody coming in around. We want to do,
But daycare.
actually, the neighborhood association wants to try to mold what's gonna happen with that. So,
That is something on here, isn't it? Like in the under.
yeah, we don't want to talk about, no, it's not under education, it's under housing. It's identified as possible housing.
Yeah.
We don't want housing there.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that,
thank
for
you.
education, it was
The Parsons
Identify,
New City Community Center.
That would be fantastic. We have a lot of artists there too, actually.
So, we're gonna say there's maybe some progress on that, but we still need to find owners for
Needs leadership.
leadership
And promotion?
promotion, yeah. I mean, just making people aware, I mean, like you said, Cottage Street's already kind of done stuff.
Yeah.
And looks like some more stuff is gonna happen. So, okay, I think
That's good.
we beat that dog to death.
Yeah, if Jim were here, we would have been.
Yeah, all right, so we're going to number 9 now, is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Create historic sites map. I remember hearing this one many times.
Yep. I think we've even talked about it this meeting.
I think we may have.
Haven't we?
Not sure.
And we've talked about
Ooh, we're
art,
doing that.
a cultural map. We've talked about
Signage.
signage. So it seems like there's like so many different. And that I want to say that when oh shoot, I'm gonna forget her name.
Andrea?
Yeah, from the art.
Oh no, Denise.
Denise from the arts from ECA or
Yeah.
you know who I'm talking about. I thought she said that there was a lot of momentum on that one, you know, in terms of a lot of parts moving around, getting signage and mapping.
So this is, yeah.
This could be one that, I want to say that my sense is John might know more about the updated status on this one.
Because they were talking about like there are maps of the trails, and we're talking about putting the sites on those trail maps. So that if somebody picks it up and they're down at Tandem Bagel and pick up one of those maps near there, and they see, oh, this is just off the trail at wherever.
I'm gonna go there.
But this is specifically zoning.
Is that what this is?
This is for size of...
Oh, create
No, this is
sites now?
this is
one?
oh,
No,
no,
size
no,
map.
Right?
No, we're on 9.
We're still on 9.
All right.
I'd say we just say some progress, but ask John.
I see.
Yeah, it seems you're like economic development staff, so I don't know if they, if they've done anything without it. CPA funds, something.
At some point, there was like this project when ECA was still Mass Cultural Council. I remember it was Andrea Burns, Stuart Beckley, and maybe it was John who were going to do like a walking history
Right.
map.
Yeah.
And they did something. I think there's a booklet maybe that was going to get printed. So I think on some scale this happened, but maybe it could be on a larger scale.
So we have to find out what happened with that.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, Jessica's been here for what,
A year?
over a year, now, a year and a half. I think.
Oh my god, that goes really quick.
So this is some progress?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm uncertain what the status is. But yeah, it looks like some progress. So you've got this historical commission and half of these things here.
Yeah, it has historical commission on the promoting, encouraging celebrations of town districts.
Yes,
Did you see that?
I did see that. Which I guess in some ways we could, because we do have some resources as far as like finding a speaker or something like that. But we don't have any budget, so.
I'll talk to you. We'll give you guys something to do.
Got money?
We raise money, we do.
Okay.
We're currently paying lawyers
See?
though, so once we pay off our
Connections, right
lawyer,
here,
That's
this
what it
table.
is.
Connections.
we're close. The bill is almost gone.
Okay. All right, number 10, develop zoning rules and incentives to keep signage from corrupting the historical architecture and beauty of Easthampton. Well, we already have
I think it's
a
done.
sign committee, right?
Isn't it like a 1 foot square is what you're allowed?
Yeah.
There's, yes, the sign rules have been made.
Yeah, so-
Done.
So,
So, done? Complete? What's our?
Yeah.
I know there's definitely been progress on it. Is it still a work it's probably a work in progress in a sense, because not everybody is happy with it either.
Not everyone was happy, but there is something now that you can definitely look
It'll
at.
stay in place.
Yeah,
So we can say ongoing, but this is something that probably would be
yeah.
continually.
Well, it's always going to change.
Right.
Okay, that was easy. Create incentives to protect and beautify historic facades. Yes.
I don't think that exists. I'm just gonna take a guess.
I'm thinking incentives mean like financial grant kind of thing.
Either financial grants or, say tax abatements or things of that sort.
Implement a facade improvement program to protect and beautify historic facades in the downtown area. Planning department, okay, so. Jessica?
Yeah, but there were financial incentives that had to go through city council,
Yeah.
not planning.
Or go through CPA to get money to do like exterior work on some of the buildings.
Right.
So maybe we just need to vet this with Jessica and see if anything's happening with it?
Yeah. I like that idea. Anybody have anything else to? Okay. Number 12, produce multimedia historic documentaries, including written works.
That
That
seems
sounds like a John question.
resource heavy
I
again,
think
you know,
that one
like.
is,
A John
will
question.
remain in progress forever because yesterday, or will be history eventually. So,
This says historic commission as a hub, resources needed, grants and volunteer time.
yeah.
So, vet with hub.
Where's that one?
That's like on page 120 there. It's goal number 3. The second strategy. I mean, it could totally tie into the, intergenerational contact, classroom history project, digitizing documents, all of that could happen as a big, you just
Yeah.
need to have major leadership and a big fat grant to pay for it all, I think.
Like,
Or little
Or
minion step.
little,
or you need to find someone who's like a videographer who kind of, wants to do some.
Well, maybe we can invite Ken Burns to town, he can do a documentary, and they'll take care of it, right?
or it's like an ECAP project, I don't really know.
It could be student projects that could tie into the educational aspect of it. You could probably find some kids that might be interested in doing some kind of historical stuff.
I think so.
Right, like it could be tied in where like kids can interview
Older
And
folks.
then
older
there's your
folks
oral
in town,
histories too.
and then it kind of kills two birds with one stone.
So, what do we say? No progress needs leadership?
John,
John.
I think we asked John on that one. It's too Maddie isn't here. I think it's
This is
officially
his
that he's
chapter.
not gonna come. Just too bad.
Okay, yeah, I think, there's definitely needs some kind of leadership or...
People like my.
I think it's a good.
leadership. All right, number 13, rebuild historic pedestrian bridges.
Where are they?
I'm going with no progress on that one.
I think they have that down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we could just,
Yeah.
No progress.
that's like the boardwalk over the pond, right? And where else?
Well, the historic pedestrian bridges would be the two that went across Lower Mill Pond.
Yeah,
And there's,
So-
obviously, nothing's been done there. It would be,
we need funding.
Lots of money.
that would be planning, I would believe.
Yeah. I know Jessica's still trying to get funding for that.
It says target date for completion 2020.
Okay,
So-
so...
Oh, we're still within our time frame. That's
Yeah.
right.
7 years, we better get hot on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 14, we got 15 minutes. Number 14, create a park around a reconstructed portion of the old canal. No progress.
No progress.
Well, what are you defining as the canal?
Well, we'd have to find a portion of it first.
I'm assuming they had a portion in mind when they wrote this, right?
Well, the two places, or one place that's actually visible is on O'Neill Street, just past the storage, A to Z storage.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a little bit of woods there, like a puddle, previous size puddle. That's part of the canal. The other thing was Stop and Shop. If they were to build, there's actually, the canal runs
Behind it, right?
Yeah, behind that property. So we were going to, and I think that they've already been approached about doing some, making, some kind of park or a little sitting area or something with some signage that would indicate that this is where the old canal went.
Oh, this is the New Haven canal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not the Panama.
No, I don't know what it was. I was thinking of... I don't know what it was. No, I was just thinking of, like,
Something
the waterway from, like, Cottage Street to Prairie Street. That's the canal.
Yeah, so actually, I guess there's been a little progress.
Because there's been conversation
With Stop and Shop already, and, like I said, but that's taken so long too that it's probably kind of forgotten. But it shouldn't be that hard to bring it back up. Resurrect it. Have to talk to Bob. Bob Schwab is the one that made contact with Stop and Shop. So,
Is he part of the commission?
He was. He resigned. So we'll have to get a hold of him, but he'd be helpful if he's able to be. So some progress.
This seems like it's got your name all over it.
No, he's not Bob.
No, but it feels like it's like who is responsible. It's all things that kind of whole state division of parks, planning department, historic commission.
Yeah.
So they're both planning it, but anyway. So we have some people to contact that could be information helpful for.
We maybe have to find some more people that would know a little bit more about the history of it. So we have to vet that with somebody. Who would that be? I went to see, there was a guy that had talked about the canal at Wilson a few years back. It was really good, but I can't remember the guy's name or how to get a hold of him, but I think we can probably find that out. And that'd be another place to, and then like you said, keep an eye on Stop and Shop when you're, when they're planning on coming in, because I'm sure they're going to be building it eventually. And,
Do they have to come back in? So could you vet that with what, the zoning board or something?
zoning or...
Historic commission and zoning board? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, if you need to know who to go to, Williston, my go-to person is always Rick Teller. He can,
Yeah.
he can,
Well, yeah, that's, I mean, that's who
Yeah.
brought it in the first place, so.
yeah. So,
Yeah, okay, so I'll put that in there too. Okay. Number 15, create a parade and celebration centered around Easthampton's history. Now, that just happened
For the anniversary?
yes, so that's done.
Is that a year?
a year before,
Yeah,
2010.
so that's done.
So, the next.
Some
one-
progress?
Is there gonna be another one?
Well, you know, like I said, number one, its history just kind of keeps marching on, so,
Yeah.
you know, even though something might get done, it might be
Yeah.
appropriate to do it.
Yeah,
5
it
to 10
may
years down
be
the road.
appropriate to do it again, but it's one of those things we can say, yes, we have.
Yes, and ongoing,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
progress
Yes.
ongoing.
Yep. What's the next anniversary is gonna be?
What was it? It was the 225th, wasn't it? Was it?
85, so, yeah, yep. So the next one's 230.
I guess so.
Yeah, so it won't be a big one of 250.
Well, when was Easthampton made?
1785.
Yeah, no, but when did it become a city? 95?
16 years ago?
90, yeah, 96.
20th.
For the 25th anniversary
Oh, yeah,
of the
that's a good
city.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's, you know.
Part of our history.
Or when we get our second mayor?
Okay, so there's been progress. But it's gonna come on again, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think we can say it's been completed. But
Completed,
ongoing.
but worth repeating.
Completed and ongoing.
Yeah.
Completed.
The radar.
Worth repeating.
Yeah, well, it's a, you know, it's a, you know, a lot of the stuff is fairly repetitive.
So we have about 10 more minutes.
Okay.
We'll check in, I guess
Can I
we
do
might.
4 more? It's number 16, proclaim a day that celebrates our Native American history.
No progress.
I don't think we have that.
No.
The tie-in with that was the 300th anniversary of the Indian raid on Pascagoula. And they got muddled. And the guy that was, you know, looking at it from the settler's point of view, just, you know, he scrapped all his plans. And so if there's, you know, maybe we need to have dialogue again there somehow, but I don't think you're going to find. I'm sure that guy's not going to be interested again. At least I'll put it that way. Which unfortunately, but yeah, you know, I mean, that's something that we have to, who would we vet that with? It's something that would be the mayor that would be able to do that,
To
right?
the city council.
Yeah.
Yes, the mayor, city council, so.
But who is like a person that's a repository of our Native American history? Is there?
John?
Right.
John, it's John. I mean, Historical
He's not-
Society
he's
is
not from-
really
he's not
about this, you know,
from-
the mills forward.
Yeah.
It's not really.
No, but, oh, that's what John was gonna talk about, was doing that, archaeological, he's got something, he found a burial ground that he's working with people somehow,
I think it was off Fort Hill Road,
yeah.
where they're building a brewery,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
but they have to get permission, I think.
Okay,
Because that would stop the brewery from, that could sit in council. Hold on, and I don't want that to happen.
None of us.
Well, you know, if they find something, I don't think there's anything up there. It's, you know,
should we just say no progress on this and put an arrow to John?
well, yeah,
It seems like we have to do this all over again.
If you don't come,
Here.
you get to do.
John, Jessica, you know, maybe put it out there to the, have maybe somebody, maybe we could just write the mayor or Jessica, or clear it with Jessica, write the mayor or city council and say, is something we're interested in doing, or, so if you're doing a proclamation, it's what's it take? You know, really.
swoop of the pen?
Basically,
Yeah.
we do a little research into who was here beforehand and
Combined with some kind of information.
Well, if I remember correctly, I believe there was a fishing camp along the Manhattan River right by where the Route 10 bridge is.
yeah.
And when the Route 10 bridge is done, you can have an opening and have also a reminder.
Well, we got fish migrating there, right? So
By the fish ladder, right?
Maybe when Eric opens the brewery, we could do it there because that area was like where one of the last Indian encampments in town was too.
he can give out free beer for
We
the
could go out for
celebration.
sure. Maybe he could do like.
And then
Promotional.
all of New City and that's
Head walk over using the Manhattan Rail Trail. And there'll be a parade and we'll get it all done.
Synchronicity.
This is called getting it all done.
One filled swoop of everything.
What swoop of the foot?
Number 17, create a calendar of Easthampton related history.
That sounds like a great educational project.
If we bring in the lines, you can have a nice calendar.
I don't think there's progress on this one though. The next one's the best.
But by a calendar, is this like a timeline or just calendar for sale?
Related history. I don't know. I think we need
Maybe it's like days
Well, what
perhaps
does it
of
say
the year
here?
that
It must be here, right?
I know Easthampton has that chain that like I forget it's a publisher, a book
the 119 at the bottom.
book company that sells like the history of
Yeah.
every town.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Easthampton has one.
Historical.
right. Yeah, I've seen it.
It's just
Yeah,
something
you guys are kind of slacking, I'm just gonna say.
The Historic Commission?
What do you guys do?
Ooh.
I think I might join that.
Come on board.
So
you're saying that,
create a calendar.
that guide would be a place to start with some dates that would be, yeah, would
Well, I mean,
identify
it's
historical
all
dates.
pictures of Easthampton.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got them.
What was this?
That history book.
Yeah, there is like a
yeah,
company that does the history
yeah,
of all this.
Arcadia books. Whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, it'd be easy enough to, you can get to the Historical Society and get some pictures and, you know, if you put together a calendar that way, like kind of
Could be a
like Florida Savings Bank
fundraiser.
does the.
People would buy that.
Great fundraiser.
Yeah.
Create a
A
calendar.
fundraiser for the Historical Commission to start
so we
doing
could-
parades, events, and
To hire an intern
To
to
hire an intern and
digitize all history.
Wait a minute, which one had funding here?
In real time.
Generate funding for a historic webpage. There you go.
great.
Okay.
Are we doing no progress on that? Needs leadership.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Talk to the historical.
I guess they all would
Commission.
put it boils
I mean, if you
down
really
to
want to get this done, we just need some leadership.
just a little.
You know, it's just the historical commission not doing their job. All right, number 18. We got 3 minutes. Reinstate the trolley cars.
Not gonna happen.
Then we talk about the
Is there a dead in the water?
gondolas.
I think
I think that would be a
because-
huge tourist
because it's a
attraction.
state highway, I don't think they can
Right.
do anything on Route 10.
Well,
Can it go a different
between
way?
towns and up the mountain, that was the gondola idea that
Yeah,
John, we'll just
that's-
put John on that, he can,
No progress?
actually, there's some progress because he's already been looking into this, yes.
He's really looking into
Yes, he was very, he was talking about starting with trolleys and then he went to gondolas.
this? Wow.
But
Okay.
like I have to say that it would be a huge
It would be awesome.
If you could do a gondola from like Northampton to Easthampton to South Hadley, like
Seriously,
up the mountain and over the river, yeah, people would, you know, if you build it, they will come.
The only thing
That would
is
cost
that
a
create a lot of like visual.
I think birds would probably fly into it and we would have a
But-
huge conservation.
Couldn't it go a different way, like just to play devil's advocate? No, okay, we want that.
So just some progress.
So that last one,
Some
some
gondolas
progress,
can go underwater.
definitely some progress.
Watching the fish.
What the words.
And then the last one is reconstruct the covered bridge on Route 10 over the Manhattan
Is it
River.
getting a cover?
No, no.
I don't think so.
No problem. Should we call it some progress
No.
minus the cover?
Department of Public Works and the Planning Department. Well, we got a couple of years. We got 5 years.
Okay.
to Get the roof on that bridge.
So I say we call it some progress needs
It's
cover.
more than just a roof, isn't it? Like an old school covered bridge? No? Was there none of that?
I don't know where this came from. And
Easthampton needs its own trucking bridge. Like Northampton, Westfield.
yeah, that's right. Okay, so we went through 19 things here.
What are we doing at the next meeting?
What's our next chapter?
Energy.
Energy and sustainability. Okay.
We gotta invite somebody.
All right, so let's
Sorry.
there's no reports, right?
Nope.
Okay, announcements? No scheduled announcements. Set next meeting time.
Was it 2 weeks?
So are we still planning on doing every 2 weeks through the summer? Is that his intention?
No, we didn't talk. When did we start last summer or did we start in the
Oh,
fall?
we started in the fall.
Yeah, it's in September.
Well, I support once a month in the summer.
I would too.
Well, we should vote on it.
Yep.
Quorum.
Of course.
I see what's happening here.
We won't.
Who moves? Are you moving or?
Wait, someone's gotta make a motion.
I'm not doing it.
This would have to go under.
New business?
Announcements.
New business.
All right. Move to meet once.
Jim's like, what are you doing?
I'm watching ECAT right now. I heard
I'm
that. You can't
sensing
do
it. There's a movement in the force.
Well, it's kind of a meeting at 7:30. For some reason I was an hour
You're
off at this
double
meeting.
booked.
It's this one. I'm early.
So, are you making a motion for that? Is that what you're doing?
I would make a motion that we would.
Meet once a month.
Yeah, but maybe we should get
The chairman's
other
opinion.
people's input.
Well, all right, let's set the next meeting and maybe we can,
I will put a discussion
yes.
on meeting once a month over summer.
Yep.
So I mean like July and August we
For the
meet once.
discussion?
Yeah. What's that?
I think we should I think one of the things we should also discuss at the next meeting could be having some time on our summer meetings to plan for like a fall public forum after we do our chapter review, because I feel like something that I feel like is
Are we almost
preventing us from going forward is really getting more public feedback about kind of where they would like to see our priority, you know. It has been 5 years since this was created, and so we're bringing ourselves up to speed, but I think it's time to gather some public input on kind of what our role should be, and
There's quite a few chapters left.
We have 5, yeah, we still have 5 chapters.
so we think we want to complete it before
So
we...
we
Do we need to do, wait, yeah, because we have to do the review for energy, because there's an energy commission, but we still need to go through and see
give them an
what-
assignment.
and give an
I
assignment.
don't even know if they have a commission there, but
And then transportation, well, our timing might work out if we do energy the next time we meet and then move to once a month, then the first big meeting would be transportation. If that report is back, we could have it be a really productive, get something in motion meeting in July.
Like I talked to Jess, I don't remember when, and she said the reports usually take several months to come out.
Okay, so that's really wishful thinking. I err on the side of that. So,
optimist.
never mind. Scratch that plan.
I guess I feel like having a public forum would help us create some more of a defined sense of our path ahead, even if we're not done with the cover to the like after we're done with the cover to cover review. Do you all think that we're going to immediately have like the things that we're going to start working on and a sense of how to attack them?
No, because
So
we're just
that's
like
what I-
saying this needs more, this needs more, this
And
needs more.
I feel like I kind of
More is
really
good.
need, like personally, I really would like to have some sense of what lies ahead for my continued investment on this committee.
Well, one thing is we need more manpower. We need more people on all of these committees. We need fresh energy. I mean, and the way to get that is to say, we need help. Where do you want to help? And you can,
Right.
I think doing that in a public forum
Would be
is a good place. The Historic Commission clearly needs help. But there are also a lot of vacancies, I know that, right? There's a ton of vacancies right now on all these boards. So,
Yeah.
Well, that's where I feel like, I don't always feel like creating a new committee is the answer. Like, I don't feel like our creation of a new committee that may not have the proper vision and leadership is going to be the proper checking off of the thing. I think we need to really get a sense of what is our role, because I still really don't know what my role is on this committee at all. I have no idea. Do I need to go and be the master plan person that sits on all this type of, you know, like like if one of us, like I keep saying, like if one of us was a housing person and another one was like you know, not like doing it as our job, but just kind of reporting out on what's happening in relation to plan related things in the community and helping, oh, okay, this is starting to happen, like that whole communication thing. You know, I feel like part of our role, I mean, I personally feel like part of our role is being that communication piece of like, hey, you need to know the agenda for the next historic commission meeting, because we're talking about these things and it impacts your committee's work too. So I feel like that for me is a role, and I don't know that we need to be the leader. I don't think we're all going to be the leaders that make these things happen, but we're the communicators of, hey, remember, yeah, we're the puppets a little bit. I mean, that's what I
I feel like there's a few chapters that could be handed out to certain committees, like you guys should really be aware of this chapter because it has, you know, it affects the decisions you're
Well, of
making.
course, some of the things that they put on here was, you know, kind of like, oh, the historical commission should be doing this, but it's really probably not their.
Yeah.
But they could probably say, oh, well, maybe we can figure out who can do this.
Yeah.
Or we'll bring it up and see if anybody's interested in doing this.
Yeah, I think it's like an iterative process to, like, there was a forum and a lot of planning and public input to create this, and it's been 5 years, and I feel like this coming fall will have been in existence for a year, and I feel like we should start to have a vision of where we're going with our
I
work.
thought when we started out that it was more like that, because it's like, oh, you know, what do you know about this? You know, okay, so this is, you come in and report something on it, and you know, then all of a sudden we started going over all this, you know, cover to cover thing, and we're like, okay, this goes here, it goes there. We don't know. We do a lot of that.
We need to bring a lot of people in, I agree.
But that was requested of us by.
Yeah, I understand that, you know, but it seems like we kind of got the ball rolling pretty good at the beginning, and all of a sudden it was like, well, we have to step back and look at everything. And it's maybe
It's a little too much.
Too much at once.
But do we like choose where to start and then go back
Well,
to?
yeah, you know, maybe we also missed the point a little bit, is that we try to solve the problem instead of just saying, well, who can solve this problem? You know, it's not us, obviously. It's just, you know, we sometimes think too much into it instead of just saying, well, Jessica or the city council needs to look at, or such and such a committee or before. So
Have them look at stuff and then report back to us, like bring, you know, do a version of, okay, here's what we need the city council to look at, and then comment on, and either come in and have a, you know, send her up and tell us, you know, what we need to know, or sort of a combination of like keep doing the review, but
right.
you know,
Well, there
please
should
send the
be some more
answers.
communication, I think, from us or
I think-
so I'm not sure exactly where that stands at this point.
Well, do a lot of the city departments, or a lot of the other commissions and committees know of our existence? I mean, I kind of feel like not so much, you know, so I don't know how useful we are as a catalyst in making things happen. People don't even know what we're doing and how we can help them.
Right.
But we don't even know how we can help them.
Well, I think that's the problem.
That's why I feel like if we had a public forum to kind of get the public input on the, like, hi, here we are. We're kind of dedicated to helping this happen, but it's really overwhelming. So why don't we check in on and maybe recruit some new people, because our committee has kind of dwindled down to about 5 or 6 frequent people. So it would be also good to maybe get us back up to our number of 9 or 10, right? And I kind of feel like that might give us some direction, you know, and maybe we vote, like, I don't know, what if we like voted on a chapter or 2 that we wanted to start some of our work on? Because I think for me, what was really hard at the beginning was we just started randomly kind of doing stuff with we all voted, and there was that voting process at the first meeting, but I didn't feel like there was a real meaningful way of having identified what we started going. Like I went to a meeting of the Manhan Rail Trail, and they really wanted to know what I was doing and how I could help, but I didn't have an answer for them, so I didn't keep going. But so I guess maybe we should just add it to the
Any motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn. I second.
Okay. Okay, so meeting adjourned.